For this tutorial, you're going to need yarn, and the yarn that I'm using is ice yarns. This is a lightweight yarn or a DK weight yarn. It recommends a 4 to 5 millimeter knitting needle, so that is 3 to 4 millimeter crochet hook. And then it's a 100% acrylic, 100 grams, 285 meters, give or take 5%. So this is the yarn that you're going to use. You'll need a pair of scissors, at least 2 stitch markers, and then you're going to need a 4.0 millimeter crochet hook or US number 6, which I'm using, and US number 5 or a 3.5 to 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. So that is all that you're going to need for this tutorial. So also you'll need a darning needle to weave in your ends at the very end. I don't have that now, but we'll need it. So to make this sweater, you're going to have two panels, one for the front, one for back, and then 2 slip panels which will be identical. So for the front and back panel, we'll start from the bottom ribbing all the way to the underarm area. Then you're going to shape the armholes. Both panels will be identical up until you reach the neck band area. So the pattern that you're going to use for one panel, you'll do the same for the back panel up until you reach the neck area, and then we can shape that separately. To begin, I'm going to take my 3.75 millimeter hook and my yarn, and then start by making a slip knot. And then you're going to chain as wide as you want, but your chain measurement should be a multiple of 4 plus 3. So I'm going to chain 83. I chained 83 for the medium size. I'm making my size, which is medium, and my bust is 36. So if you're working as extra small, you're going to chain 67. That is if you're working with a medium yarn and a 3.75 millimeter hook. If you're working as small, you should chain 75. So since I've already worked the bottom ribbing, so I'll just show you how to go about it, and then we can work on the body part together. So I won't chain the whole 83 chains. I'll just chain a few chains and then I will chain row one. So that is it. So I've chained 19 chains just to show you how to go about the bottom ribbing. So you're going to yarn over and skip the first 3 chains. So remember, these first 3 chains will count as our first double crochet, and on the 4th chain you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. So that is our second double crochet, and you're going to repeat that all the way to the end, working 1 double crochet in each chain stitch. So at the end of your row, your stitch count should be 2 less than your original chain stitches. If you chained 83, your first row should have 81 double crochet stitches. If you chain 67, you should have 65 double crochet stitches. Just make sure that your double crochet stitches is 2 less than your foundation chains. So go ahead and finish that, but then meet you in row 1. So at the end of row 1, you're going to chain 2. This chain 2 will count as your first double crochet in the next round, in the next row. So yarn over, and then you're going to work a front post double crochet stitch. So you're going to insert your hook behind the next post, and then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, then yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. Then you're going to work a back post double crochet in the next. So bring your hook in front of the next post stitch. So these tall stitches, or whatever supports our stitch, because this is the stitch, and then that post, that is what is called a post, whatever supports the stitch, that long thingy. So you're going to work a back post double crochet in the next stitch. That is why it is called a post, a front post or a back post. So the next stitch, you're going to work a front post. So insert your hook behind the post of that next stitch, then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then a back post in the next. So bring your hook in front of that stitch, and the post should be behind your hook like this. Then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. So you're going to continue alternating a front post double crochet and a back post double crochet all the way until you have only 1 stitch remaining or the last chain 3. So go ahead, continue with that, and then I'll meet you at the very end of row 2. So my row has ended with a front post double crochet in that second last stitch. Then you're going to yarn over and finish your row with a double crochet in this chain 3. So locate the top chain, then work a double crochet. Then you're going to chain 2 and turn to our row 3, and for row 3 we're going to start the chain 2 will count as our first stitch. So you're going to work a back post double crochet in this next stitch, then a front post double crochet in the third stitch. So front post double crochets are the posts that are bulging or coming towards you or in front of your work, and then the back posts are pushed behind your work. So yarn over, insert your hook in front of the post of that stitch. The post should be now behind your hook, and then work a back post double crochet and yarn over, insert your hook behind the next stitch. The stitch should be in front of your hook, and work a front post double crochet, back post double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next stitch, and repeat this all the way to the end of the row. So I'll meet you when you have your last chain 2 remaining. Just place a front post on every front post and a back post on every back post stitch. So I've reached the end of my row 3, and then I'll just yarn over, find that second chain and work a double crochet. Then chain 2 and turn to row 4, and row 4 I'll repeat row 2 pattern, working a front post double crochet in the next stitch. Remember the chain 2 counts as a stitch, then a back post double crochet in the next stitch, and a front post double crochet in the next stitch. So continue with this all the way to the end, and then I'll show you the row repeat. Then after you're through with your bottom ribbing, we can start working on the main body. At the end of row 4, you're going to yarn over and double crochet in the second chain of that last chain 2 because it counted as a stitch. Then you're going to chain 2, and now you're going to repeat row 3 and row 4 all the way until you have 8 rows in total, or you can do as much as you want. If you want a very long bottom ribbing, go ahead and do you, but I did 8 rows. So this is how my bottom band looks like for the main sweater, and I'll join you now when you're working the main body with this main body panel. Yep, so you're not continuing with our short panel or our short ribbing. So when you're through with your 8 rows of the bottom band or the bottom ribbing, you're going to chain to a 4mm hook, and then for row 1 of the main body you're going to start by chaining 1, then turn your work, and then you're going to work a single crochet on every stitch. So place a single crochet on each stitch all the way to the end of your first row. To work a single crochet, just insert your hook in that stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops. So remember, the chain 1 that we started with does not count as a stitch, so we're going to start our very first single crochet on the very first stitch. So do this all the way to the end, and then I can meet you in row 2 of the body panel. So remember, the chain 2 at the very end counted as a stitch, so don't forget to single crochet in that last chain 2. And then for row 2 we're going to chain 2 and turn and start our alpine stitch. So we're going to, the chain 2 will count as the first stitch, so we're going to skip the very first stitch, and then in the next stitch, which is a front post 2 rows below, we're going to skip the single crochet row, and then the second row below we're going to work a front post double crochet on that front post double crochet stitch. then yarn over, skip the single crochet behind that post stitch, and in the next stitch you're going to work a normal double crochet. Then yarn over, go in the front post stitch 2 rows below, and then work a front post double crochet, then skip the single crochet behind that post stitch and work a double crochet in the next stitch. Then yarn over, go in the next post stitch 2 rows below and work a front post double crochet, then a normal double crochet in the next single crochet stitch. Always skip the single crochet stitches behind the post stitches. So you're going to repeat this all the way to the end, and then we can proceed to row 3. So at the end of row 2, you're going to chain 1 and turn to row 3, and every odd number of rows, so that will be row 3, row 5, row 7, row 9, row 11, row 13, row 15, row 17, row 19, every odd number of rows, we are only placing 1 single crochet on every stitch. So for this row 3, start with a single crochet in the very first stitch. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Then continue placing 1 single crochet stitch on every stitch all the way to the end, and then I'll meet you in row 4. At the end of row 3, chain 2 and turn to row 4. So remember, in row 2 we started with a double crochet, then a front post, double crochet, then front post. So in this row 4 we're going to start with a double crochet, then a double crochet in the next stitch, and then you're going to work a front post in the double crochet stitch of row 2 rows below. So locate that double crochet stitch and then work a front post double crochet, then double crochet in the next stitch, then front post double crochet in the double crochet stitch 2 rows below. So this is not the front post stitches, this we are working on the normal double crochet stitches 2 rows below, and continue doing that all the way to the end of this row 4, double crochet in the next stitch, and then front post double crochet in the double crochet stitch 2 rows below, double crochet stitch in the next single crochet, then front post double crochet in the double crochet stitch 2 rows below. This is the stitch between the front post stitches. So continue alternating between a double crochet and a front post double crochet 2 rows below all the way to the end of the row 4, and then row 5 is single crochet. Remember we said every odd number of row we are placing single crochet in each stitch. So for row 5 you'll turn, chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch, then I'll meet you in row 6, show you what to do, then show you the repeat pattern all the way until you reach your underarm, or until you reach the place where you're going to start shaping the armholes. So for row 4, I remember I did not clarify something. Remember we started with a chain 2, which was our first double crochet, then a double crochet in the next stitch. Then we started, after working the first 2 double crochets is when we did the front post double crochet. So after working your last front post double crochet here, you'll have 2 stitches remaining. So you're going to work a double crochet in each of those 2 stitches. So double crochet in the next stitch and double crochet in the last stitch. So when you reach the end of row 5, we're going to chain 2, turn our work, the chain 2 will count as our first double crochet, and then you're now going to repeat the row 2 pattern. So skip the very first stitch, and then in the next stitch you're going to work a front post double crochet in the double crochet stitch 2 rows below, then double crochet in the next single crochet stitch, then front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch 2 rows below. double crochet in the next stitch, then front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch 2 rows below. That is the pattern. Repeat all the way to the end of this row 6. So continue with that, and then I'll meet you at the very end of row 6. Then I'll show you the pattern. Repeat all the way until you reach underarms. So at the end of row 6, you're going to finish your row with a double crochet in the very last single crochet stitch, then chain 1. So row 7 is an odd number of row. We're going to work single crochet stitch on every stitch all the way to the end, and then turn. So our row repeat will be row 3, row 4, row 5, row 6, and I'll leave chapters on this video so that you can always refer to a row if you don't remember how you did it. But you're going to repeat those 4 rows all the way until our work measures roughly 12 to 14 inches, depending on how long you want the front or you want your sweater to be. So if you want your sweater to be 30 inches long, which is very long, you're going to take 30 minus 7 inches if you're working an extra small or small, and then you're going to take away 8 inches from that total length if you're working a medium and large, then take away 9 inches if you're working an extra large and 2 extra large, and then make sure that your last row should end on row 5 pattern. So row 4 and row 5, then we can now shape the armhole together. I hope all this makes sense. If you don't understand it, please you can refer to the written pattern that I will have free on the blog. So I went ahead with my rows, and now I have a total of 49 rows. Your work should end on this. Your 48th row or your second last row should end on 2 double crochets on both sides, and then the front post double crochet below. So you should have 2 double crochets at the end and 2 double crochets at the start of your second last row. Yeah, so I have 49 rows in total, and my work measures 13 inches at this point. So this is the full length from my underarm area all the way to the bottom. And now the next step is going to work on the armhole, shaping the armhole, and then shaping the neckline, and then we'll proceed to the sleeves. So this is the front panel, so I'll show you how to do the front panel, then give you all the row counts for the back panel. Then at the end of the previous row and the start of the new row, now shaping the armhole, you want to turn your work, do not make any chains, and then you want to slip the first 3 stitches. If you're working an extra small, then slip stitch the first 5 stitches if you're working a small and a medium, and then if you're working from large all the way to 2 extra large, you want to slip the first 7 stitches. So since the first stitch is with our hook, you can go in that stitch, then work a slip stitch, then slip stitch in the next 4 stitches. So your first 4 stitches are going to be slip stitch, and then on this 5th stitch you want to chain 2 to count as our first double crochet for this first row of armhole, and then in the next stitch you want to work a front post double crochet in the double crochet stitch below, then double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet, front post double crochet in the next stitch 2 rows below, double crochet in the next stitch, and repeat this until you have 5 stitches remaining at the very end of your work. When you reach the last 5 stitches, when you have the last 5 stitches remaining, Your previous stitch for your last stitch will be a front post. Then on the next stitch, you're going to work a normal double crochet. Then turn your work, leave the last 4 stitches. So you want to turn your work to row 2, and for row 2 you're going to work a decrease. So a single crochet in the very first stitch. Remember to chain 1, then single crochet in this first stitch. Then you're going to work single crochet 2 together. So insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, then go in the third stitch, yarn over, pull through. When you have 3 loops, you're going to yarn over, pull through all the 3 loops, and then repeat this. Do another single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, and now you're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch until you have 5 stitches remaining at the very end. So do that, and then I'll meet you when you have only 5 stitches remaining, placing only 1 single crochet in each stitch. Once you have the 5 stitches remaining here at the very end, you're going to work single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, then single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, and then work a normal single crochet in the last stitch, or the chain 2. Then turn your work, and for row 3 you're going to work the alpine. So you start by chaining 2, and the chain 2 will count as your first double crochet. Then you're going to double crochet in this next stitch, and then the next stitch you're going to work a front post double crochet. So skip this post stitch and go directly in this normal double crochet stitch, work a front post double crochet, and then double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch, then double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch, always working the post stitches 2 rows below, then double crochet in the next stitch, and continue doing this until you have 2 stitches remaining at the very end. Just alternate a front post double crochet down below and then a double crochet in the next stitch. I've reached the end of my row and I have these 2 stitches remaining at the very end. I'll just go ahead and work a double crochet in those last 2 stitches, then double crochet in the very last stitch, then chain 1 and turn. So for row 3 we also, this is row 4. For row 4 we're going to work another decrease, but instead of working single crochet 2 together twice, we're only going to work single crochet 2 together once. So single crochet in the very first stitch, and then the next stitch you're going to work single crochet 2 together, then single crochet in each stitch until you have 3 stitches remaining. When you have 3 stitches remaining, you're going to work single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, and then a single crochet in the very last stitch. Then turn your work, and for row 5 we're going to repeat our row 3 pattern. So we're going to chain 2. The chain 2 will count as a double crochet stitch, and then in this next decrease you're going to place one double crochet, and then you're going to work a front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch 2 rows below, double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next stitch 2 rows below, and continue repeating this, working 1 double crochet in the next stitch and a front post double crochet in the double crochet stitch 2 rows below, all the way until you have your last two stitches remaining. So I'll meet you when I have 2 stitches remaining, finish the row, then show you some row repeats until the end of the decreases. When you have 2 stitches remaining at the end of your row, you're going to work a double crochet in each stitch. So this is basically row 3 pattern that we've repeated here on row 5. Then chain 1 and turn. So row 6 we're going to repeat row 4 pattern, which is a single crochet in the first stitch, then single crochet 2 together, continue single crochet in each stitch until you have 3 stitches remaining, then single crochet 2 together in the second last 2 stitches, and a single crochet in the very last stitch. Then after row 6 you're going to turn, and row 7 you're repeating the row 5 pattern by chaining 2, then double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet, front post, front double crochet, front post, until you have 2 stitches remaining, then double crochet in the last 2 stitches. So you want to repeat row 4 and row 5 pattern until you have a total of 9 rows, and then I'll meet you in row 10 proceeding onwards. When you reach the end of row 9, we're not going to add any more decreases, so just chain 1, turn your work, and for row 10 you're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way to the end. So place 1 single crochet in each stitch, and then we'll meet when working row 11. At the end of row 10, you're going to chain 2, turn your work. The chain 2 will count as the first double crochet on this other row. Then the next stitch, which is a double crochet, we're going to work a front post double crochet in that. Then double crochet in the next single crochet stitch, front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch 2 rows below, and repeat this all the way to the end, alternating between a double crochet in the next stitch and a front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and a front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch 2 rows below. So do that all the way to the end, and your row should end with a front post in the second last stitch and a double crochet in the very last stitch. At the end of row 10, chain 1, turn your work, at the end of row 11, and for row 12 you're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way to the end. So place 1 single crochet in each stitch, and then when we reach the end we'll meet again when you're working our row 13. At the end of row 12 you're going to turn your work, and for row 13 you're going to start by chaining 2, which counts as our first double crochet, and then you're going to double crochet in the next stitch because we have a front post 2 rows below. Then in the next stitch we have a normal double crochet 2 rows below. We're going to work a front post double crochet in that stitch, then double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and repeat these all the way to the end, ending your row with 2 double crochets in the very last 2 stitches. So do that, and then I'll show you now the row repeats and the number of rows you need to work. At the end of row 13 you're going to chain 1, then turn your work, and for row 14 you're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way to the end of the row. So just work single crochets all the way, and then I'll meet you in the next row. At the end of row 14 you want to chain 1 and 2, then turn your work, and now for row 15 you're going to repeat row 11, and then row 16 you're going to repeat row 12, row 17 you're going to repeat row 13, and row 18 you're going to repeat row 14. So repeat those last 4 rows, and I'll meet you at the end of row 14 because that is where we're going to start shaping the neckline for the front panel. If you're working the back panel, you want to repeat those last 4 rows until you have a total of 26 rows. So for the back panel you should have 26 rows. For the front panel you're going to have 18 rows of the armhole from here to here. Don't count 18 from the bottom, 18 from here. So to count the number of rows you're going to start with this double crochet here, so that is row 1, and then just jump to the next double crochet, which is row 3. So you have a single crochet in between the 2 double crochets. So 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That is how you count the number of rows. So once you have 18 rows, we'll meet when you're shaping the neckline for the front panel. If you're working an extra small or small, you should have 14 rows. So you're going to stop at this 14th row for the extra small or small size, and then for extra large and 2 extra large also you're going to stop at row 18. So do that, and then I'll meet you when you're working the next rows. So I went ahead and finished my 18 rows in total, and now for row 19 we're going to start shaping the neck opening. And so you want to mark the 23rd stitch from both ends. So I've marked the 23rd from this end and the 23rd from this end. Your stitch or your marker should be on the stitch with a post stitch down below, and the distance between the markers should be 4 or 4.25 inches. So for row number 19, you want to start by chaining 2, 1, 2, and this will count as a double crochet in this next row. Then the next stitch is a normal double crochet down below, so we want to work a front post double crochet in that stitch, then a normal double crochet in the next stitch, a front post double crochet in the next stitch, and alternate double crochet in the next stitch, and a front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch 2 rows below until you have only the stitch with marker remaining. So I'll meet you at the very end of this row, show you what to do, and then proceed to the next row. After working all the way to the stitch with marker, you want to work a double crochet because the previous stitch is a front post double crochet 2 rows below. So you want to go in that stitch with marker and work a normal double crochet. Then now you can remove the marker. Chain 1, turn to row 20, and you're going to work a decrease around the neck area. So work a single crochet in the very first stitch, and single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches. Then after that, you're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way to the end of this row, and then I'll meet you in the next row. After row 20, you're going to turn your work, and for row 21, you're going to chain 2. The chain 2 will count as a stitch. Then in the next stitch, you're going to work a normal double crochet stitch, then front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch 2 rows below, double crochet in the next stitch, 2 double crochet in the next, front post double crochet 2 rows below in the next stitch, and do this until you have your last 3 stitches remaining, and then we can finish off together. So when you have your 3 stitches remaining, you're going to work a double crochet in the next stitch, then front post double crochet 2 rows below in the next stitch, and a double crochet in the very last stitch. For row 22, we're going to chain 1, then turn. We're going to repeat our row 20 pattern. So single crochet in the first stitch, then single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, and proceed by working 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch all the way to the end of the row. So do that, and then I'll meet you in the next row, or row 23. At the end of row 22, you're going to turn your work, and for row 23, you're going to start by chaining 2, which count as your first double crochet, and then front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch 2 rows below, double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet 2 rows below in the next stitch, and repeat this all the way until you have your last 2 stitches remaining. When you have the last 2 stitches remaining here, you're going to work a front post double crochet in the double crochet stitch 2 rows below, and then double crochet in the very last stitch. Then chain 1, turn your work, and work a decrease on row 24. You start with a double crochet, start with a single crochet, then single crochet 2 together, and continue working 1 single crochet all the way to the end, and I'll meet you in the next row. At the end of row 24, you're going to turn your work, and for row 25, we're going to repeat our row 21 pattern by chaining 2, and then working a double crochet in the next stitch, then a front post double crochet in the next stitch 2 rows below, double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next stitch 2 rows below, and repeat that all the way until you have 2 stitches remaining. So when you're here at the very end, you're going to work a front post double crochet in this double crochet stitch here 2 rows below, then double crochet in the very last stitch. Then for the next row, we're going to repeat row 2 pattern by working single crochet, then single crochet 2 together, and then proceed with single crochet in each stitch. And now you're going to repeat row 21, 22, 23, 24 until you have 28 rows. And then I'll meet you when we're finishing off with row 29 and row 30. Then you turn to this other side. At the end of row 28, you're going to turn your work, then chain 2. And row 29, you're going to repeat our row 21 pattern. So double crochet in the next stitch. Then front post double crochet in the next stitch, 2 rows below. Double crochet in the next stitch. Front post double crochet in the next stitch, 2 rows below. And repeat this all the way to the end, ending your row with a front post double crochet in this second last stitch, then a double crochet in the very last stitch. So do that, and then for row 30, we're only going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch, so we're not making any decrease in row 30. So I went ahead and finished my row 29 and then chained 1, and for row 30 I just placed 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across, and at the very end I'm going to chain 1, then cut the yarn, because that is the end of our front panel of one side. So for this other side, we're going to attach our yarn on this stitch with marker. So take your yarn, and then you're going to either join it with a standing double crochet or just attach your yarn and then chain 2. So remove the marker, make a chain just to attach that yarn, and then you're going to chain 2. So this will count as the first double crochet of this row. Then work a front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch, 2 rows below. Then double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch, 2 rows below, and repeat that all the way to the end, ending your row with a front post double crochet, then a double crochet in the very last stitch. For row 2, you're going to start by chaining 1, then turn your work, and then you're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch until you have 5 stitches remaining. I'm really sorry, I confused this decrease with the armhole decrease. So you're going to continue with your row until you have only 3 stitches remaining and not 5. So when you have your last 3 stitches, you're going to work your decrease in the next 2 stitches and then single crochet in the very last stitch. Turn your work and then chain 2. So row 3 is going to be at front post double crochet in this double crochet stitch here, 2 rows below, skip the post and the chain 2 here, doing that next double crochet stitch and work front post double crochet, double crochet in the next stitch, which is here, front post double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and repeat this all the way to the end of your row, ending your row with 2 double crochets. So you reach the end, you're going to work a double crochet in the second last stitch and the very last stitch. Then for the next row, I'll meet you when you're working our next set of decrease, which will be basically this row 2 pattern. Single crochet in each stitch until you have 3 stitches remaining. So do that, and then I'll meet you when you have your 3 stitches remaining in the next row of single crochets. When you reach the last 3 stitches of row 4, you're going to work single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, and then a single crochet in the very last stitch. Then turn to row 5, and for row 5 we're going to start by working chain 2, which will count as our first double crochet, and then skip the post stitch, the next post stitch. Then in the next double crochet stitch, 2 rows below, we're going to work a front post double crochet, then double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch, 2 rows below, and repeat that all the way, finishing your row with a front post double crochet in the second last stitch and a double crochet in the very last stitch. So do that, and then for row 6, you're going to start by working 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way, single crochet in each stitch until you reach the last 3 stitches. So I'll meet you at the end of row 6 when you have the 3 stitches remaining. Then I show you the stitch repeat or the row repeat. Then we finish this other side of the front panel. So when you reach the last 3 stitches, you're going to work a single crochet 2 together decrease, then single crochet in the very last stitch, then turn your work, and for row 7 you're going to start by chaining 2, which will count as our first double crochet. So you're going to repeat row 3, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the next 4 rows. So we're going to repeat row 3 for row 7, then row 4 for row 8, row 5 for row 9, and then row 6 for row 10, and then we'll finish the last 2 rows without making any decrease. So I'll meet you in row 11 and row 12. Just proceed with those, repeating row 3, 4, 5, and 6. When you reach the end of row 10, you're going to turn your work. Then for row 11, you're going to start by chaining 2, which will count as our first double crochet. And then you're going to work a front post double crochet in the next, skip the next post, and in the next double crochet stitch, you want to work a front post double crochet in that stitch, then double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch 2 rows below. We're basically repeating our row 3 pattern, and then when you reach the end, you should have 2 double crochets, or you should finish your row with a double crochet in the last 2 stitches. So do that, and then we'll finish the last row together. At the end of row 11, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and for row 12, you're going to place a single crochet in each stitch all the way to the end without any decreases. So this is your last row. When you reach the end, you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn. So I finished my work, and this is how it looks like at this point. It's a little bit, it falls because of the alpine stitch, but it will straighten. I'll block it once I'm done. So the front panel is complete, and I'll now proceed and work on the back panel. So I have my back panel here, and if you can remember, for the front panel, I leave every detail and I leave chapters here so that you can always refer back. But for the front panel, we repeated row 11 after we finished shaping the armhole. So we had constant rows. That was row 11, 12, 13, 14. And we repeated that until we had 18 rows for the medium size. But now for the back panel, you're going to repeat that row 11, 12, 13, 14 until you have a total of 26 rows, because you're only going to have 4 rows for the neck area of the back panel. So after you have your number of rows, after you have the 26 rows, you're going to mark the 19th stitch on both sides. I have all the details for other sizes in the free pattern, so please check it out if you're working with different size, if you're working on a different size. So at the end of your row 26, you're going to chain 2, and for row 27, you're going to work a front post double crochet in the next stitch, because the next stitch is a, if you look at the next stitch 2 rows below, it's a normal double crochet, it's not a post stitch. So you're working a post stitch in that stitch, then double crochet in the next stitch, work a front post double crochet in the next stitch 2 rows below, double crochet in the next stitch, and repeat working this until the end of your row, ending your row with a front post double crochet in the second last stitch and a double crochet in the very last stitch. So do that, and then we'll meet in the next row where we'll have a decrease. So by at the end of the row, I meant at the end where you stitch, or where you have the marker. So place a double crochet in that stitch with marker. Then now you can remove your marker and proceed to the next rows. So for row 2 or for row 28, you're going to chain 1, then turn, and you're going to work a single crochet in the first stitch, then a decrease. So work single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches. Then proceed by placing 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way to the end of the row. For row 29, you're going to chain 2, and then you're going to work a double crochet in the next stitch, then a front post double crochet in the next stitch, 2 rows below, double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch, 2 rows below, and repeat these all the way to the end, ending your row with a front post double crochet, then a double crochet in the very last stitch. And then after row 29, for row 30, you're going to chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch all the way to the end, chain 1 and cut 2 yarn. So I'll meet you when you're now working on the opposite side of this back panel. When you're through with your right side, you're going to pick your yarn and then attach it in the stitch with marker. You can do it in your preferred way. You can also attach it with a standing double crochet, but I just prefer to attach it with a chain and then chain 2. Then you can work a front post double crochet in the next double crochet stitch, 2 rows below, then double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next stitch, and repeat that, working double crochet and then alternating it with a front post double crochet in the double crochet stitch, 2 rows below, all the way to the end, ending your row with a front post double crochet in the second last stitch and a double crochet in the very last stitch. Then we can turn now to our second row. At the end of the row, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then single crochet in each stitch until you have 3 stitches remaining at the very end. When you have your last 3 stitches remaining, you're going to work a single crochet together in the next 2 stitches, then a single crochet in the very last stitch, and turn to your last row of double crochets, then chain 2 and work a front post, skip the next post stitch, and in the next double crochet stitch, 2 rows below, you want to work a front post double crochet, then double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and alternate those until you finish your row, ending your row with a double crochet in the very last 2 stitches. So this row you're going to end with double crochet in the last 2 stitches. And then for the last row, row 30, you're going to chain 1, or row 4 for this other side, you're going to chain 1, then single crochet in each stitch all the way to the end. And if you're working with my stitch count, you should have 18 stitches on both sides. So do that, finish your other side, and then I'll show you how it looks like at the end, and then we can now proceed to the sleeves. So my back panel is also done, and this is how it looks like. You can see the space or the neckband area for the back side is a little shorter than the front side. So we'll proceed now to the sleeves.
Once you're done with the main body panels, you're going to turn to the sleeves, and I've already worked one sleeve. So what you're going to do, you're going to start with the foundation chains, and the foundation chains should be a multiple of 6 plus 3. So 6 will be the bobble, and then 3 for the last stitches and the turning chain. So do that, and then you're going to work the bobbles and the normal rows until your work measures 17 to 18 inches, which will be here to here, and then we start shaping the armhole. So the armhole should measure 6 inches if you're working a small all the way to an XL, and then 7 if you're working from 2XL onwards. And if you're working an extra small, it should measure 5 to 5.5 inches. So to start from the bottom here, you're going to pick your hook. So take your 4mm hook and your yarn, and then you're going to start by making a slip knot. Then insert your hook and chain a multiple of 6 plus 3 as long as you want it to be. So mine, I'm going to start by chaining 69, so that is 6 times 11, 66 plus 3, 69. And if you're working with the same yarn and the same hook, you can go ahead and chain 69. But if you're working with a different size of yarn and hook, you're going to chain as long as you want your piece to be. So mine here measures 16 inches. You can go ahead and chain at around 17 inches because your work might tend to reduce in size, so you can go ahead and chain 16 or 16 and a half to 17, but it will be a multiple of 6 plus 3. So with my hook I'm going to chain 69. So once you have your 69 chains or your desired number of chains, you're going to start in row 1, and for row 1 you're going to skip the very first chain. Remember, the loop on your hook does not count as a stitch, so skip the first stitch, and in the next chain you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops. So that's our first single crochet, and you're going to continue placing 1 single crochet all the way until the end of the row. So go ahead and do that, and then I'll meet you in row 2. At the end of row 1 you should have a total of 68 single crochet stitches. If you started with 69, if you started with a different number, it should be 1 less. So if you started with, let's say, 73, you're going to have 72 single crochet stitches. So for the next row you're going to start by chaining 1, then turn your work, and for the first stitch you're going to work a single crochet. So insert your hook in that stitch, single crochet, then single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So at this point you should have 5 single crochet stitches at the beginning of your row, and then for the next stitch you're going to make a bobble stitch, and to do that you're going to yarn over, insert your hook in that stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, then yarn over, insert your hook in the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, and you're going to repeat that until you have a total of 6 loops on your hook. So once we have the 6 loops on our hook, you're going to yarn over, pull through all the 6 loops, then single crochet in the next stitch, pushing this bubble to the back of your work. So this is the front, you're going to push it to this side. So go in the next single stitch and work a single crochet and push the bubble to the back, so you can see it has protruded behind your row. And that is what you're going to do. So we've already worked a single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet in the next 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, then 4. So we have 5 single crochets after the previous bubble, then work a bubble in this next stitch. So to do a bubble, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, go in the same stitch, yarn over, pull through the first 2. You'll have 3 loops, and do this until you have a total of 6 loops on your hook. Once you have 6 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over, pull through all the 6 loops, and then you're going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So single crochet in the next stitch, make sure that the bubble is pushed to behind your row on this side, and then continue single crochet until you have 5 single crochets after the bubble stitch. Then bubble in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through the 6 loops, and then single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So that will be your pattern. You're working a bubble and then single crochet in the next 5, bubble, single crochet in the next 5, bubble, single crochet in the next 5, until you have 2 stitches remaining here at the end. So you'll work your bubble and then you'll embroider with 2 stitches. Then I'll meet you when you're finishing your row and starting row 3. Once you reach the end of your row 2 and you have the 2 stitches remaining here, you're going to go in those stitches and work single crochets. Then turn your work, and for row 3 you're going to work double crochet stitches in every stitch all the way to the end. So start by chaining 2 and this chain 2 will count as our first double crochet stitch. So don't place a double crochet in the very same stitch. Skip to the second stitch and work a double crochet. Then the third stitch will be the top of this bobble stitch. Place a double crochet, then double crochet in every stitch all the way to the end. So do that, and then I'll meet you when working row 4. At the end of row 3, when you have double crochet stitches all the way to the end, you're going to turn your work, then chain 1. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and then you want to single crochet in the first 2 stitches. Remember, in row 2 we finished our row with single crochet in the last 2 stitches, but for this next row we're going to start by working single crochets in the first 2 stitches. So insert your hook, single crochet, then single crochet in the next stitch, and then you're going to work a bobble stitch in this next stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go back, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, and repeat this until you have a total of 6 loops on your hook. Once you have the 6 loops, you're going to yarn over, pull through all the 6 loops, and then single crochet in the next 5 stitches. Remember, the bobble is pushed at the wrong side of your row, or behind your row. Once you have the single crochet stitches after your bobble stitch, you're going to work another bobble. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through until you have 6 loops in total. Then yarn over, pull through all the 6 loops, then single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So the pattern repeat for this row will be a bobble, then single crochet 5, bobble, single crochet 5. So after the 5 single crochets, you're going to work a bobble in the next stitch, then single crochet in the next 5 stitches, work a bobble, single crochet in the next 5 stitches, work a bobble, single crochet in the next 5 stitches, all the way to the end of your row. So your row should end with single crochet in the very last 5 stitches after your bobble in the 6th last stitch. So work a bobble and then finish your row with single crochet in the very last 5 stitches. Then we'll turn to row 5. At the end of row 4, you're going to chain 2. The chain 2 will count as the first double crochet in row 5. So you're going to, you won't double crochet in the very same stitch. You just yarn over, skip the first stitch, and in the second stitch you're going to work a double crochet. Then continue placing 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way to the end of your row. So go ahead, I'll meet you at the end of row 5, then show you the row repeats and the number of rows you should work. Then we can start, after you throw with the main sleeve, we can start shaping the armhole. So I went ahead and finished the 5 rows, row 1 all the way to row 5, and this is how our work looks like so far. So what you're going to do is repeat row 2, row 3, row 4 and row 5 all the way until your work measures 17 to 18 inches in length, or until you have a total of 52 rows, and your row should end on a row 5 pattern. So go ahead and do that, and then once you're done, I'll meet you now when you're shaping the sleeve or the armhole part. Yeah, so yeah, let's meet there. So I went ahead and finished 56 rows in total, not 52 as I said in the previous section of this video. So after row 56, you're going to start now shaping the armhole area. So this is what I'm talking about. So you're going to do the decreases like this and then use this for the armhole part. So on row 57, at the end of row 56, you're going to chain 1. Always remember to chain 1 while turning on the single crochet side, and then you're going to slip stitch in the first 3 stitches. So this one we'll just push our stitches, and we won't work on the slip stitches on our next row. So just slip stitch in the next 3 just to push the stitches, and then on the 4th stitch you want to work a single crochet, then single crochet in the next stitch, and work a bubble stitch in the next. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and repeat this 5 or 4 more times, or until you have 6 loops on your hook. Once you have the 6 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over, pull through all the 6 loops, then push the bubble towards the back of your work and single crochet in the next stitch. Then single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then bubble in the next. So our repeat is going to be a bubble, then single crochet 5, bubble, single crochet 5, bubble, single crochet 5, until you have 3 stitches remaining at the very end. So the last 3 stitches we want to work on. So just repeat your pattern, ending your row with single crochet in the last 5, leaving the 3 stitches. So I'll meet you after working your very last 5 single crochets.
I went ahead with my row and I'm here after working my bubble and 5 single crochets. I have 3 stitches remaining, and remember we did 3 slip stitches here at the beginning, which did not count as a stitch, but it pushed our yarn to where we needed to start the row. So we'll skip the last 3 stitches to mark our first row of decreases and then turn. And for our next row, we're going to chain 2. This chain 2 will count as our first double crochet, and then you're going to double crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches. So yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, then yarn over, go in the next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through all the 3 loops. So that will count as 1 stitch, a decrease, and then you're going to decrease in the next 2 stitches as well. So we have chain 2, which counted as our first double crochet, and then 2 decreases. Then you're going to double crochet in each stitch until you have only 5 stitches remaining. So go ahead, double crochet in each stitch, and I'll meet you at the very end when you have 5 stitches remaining. Remember the 3 slip stitches does not count as a stitch in this row. I have my 5 stitches remaining here at the end, so that is 2 stitches, then the bubble stitch, and the 2 stitches that we started with. Remember we started with single crochet 2. We're going to work a decrease, double crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, and then do the same in this bubble stitch and the next single crochet stitch, then double crochet in the very last stitch, then chain 1 and turn. And for row 59, or our third row of decreases, we're going to start by single crochet in the first stitch. Remember the chain 1 does not count as a stitch, it is single crochet row, and then you're going to work a decrease, so single crochet 2 together, and then you work to work a bubble in the next stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, and do this until you have 6 loops on your hook. Once you have the 6 loops, yarn over, pull through all the 6 loops, and then single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you want to do another bubble. After bubble, you want to single crochet in the next 5 stitches, and you want to repeat that bubble, single crochet next 5, bubble, single crochet next 5, until you have 6 stitches remaining. So I went ahead with my rows and I have 6 stitches remaining here at the end. And then once you have your 6 stitches here at the end, after working the bubble, you're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. and then single crochet 2 together, then single crochet in the very last stitch. So find the chain 2 and work a single crochet, then turn your work. So for this next row, we're going to repeat our row 58, which was chain 2, then double crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, double crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches. And then you want to double crochet in each stitch all the way until you have your last 5 stitches remaining, and then you want to double crochet 2 together, repeat that, and then double crochet in the very last stitch. So you want to repeat those 2 rows, that is row 58 and 59, or row 59 and 60, until you have a total of 65 rows. So the 65th row is going to be our row 59 pattern, which was single crochet, then single crochet 2 together, and then bobble, single crochet 5, bobble, single crochet 5 until you have your 6 stitches remaining, and then your single crochet 3, single crochet 2 together. I'll have a written pattern on all these free on my blog, so please check it out if you want guidance on how to follow along with the video. I hope that makes sense. So just repeat those 2 rows until you have a total of 65 rows, and then I'll meet you from row 66 onward. At the end of row 65, you're going to turn your work, and then for row 66, you're only going to have 1 decrease on both sides. So chain 2, which count as our first double crochet, and then double crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches. And then continue placing 1 double crochet in each stitch until you have only 3 stitches remaining. When you have 3 stitches remaining, you're going to work double crochet 2 together in the second last 2 stitches, and then double crochet in the very last stitch. Then chain 1 and turn to row 67. For this row, you're going to start by single crochet in the first stitch, and then single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, and then single crochet in the next stitch. Then you're going to have a bubble in the next. So work a bubble stitch in that stitch, then single crochet in the next 5 stitches. You're going to place a bubble, single crochet in the next 5, bubble, single crochet in the next 5, until you work your last bubble stitch, and you'll have 7 stitches remaining after your last bubble stitch. So go ahead, when you have 7 stitches remaining, I'll meet you in finishing the row and turning to the next row. I went ahead all through my row and I've worked my last bubble stitch. I have 7 stitches remaining here, so I'm going to work single crochet in the next 4 stitches, then single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, then single crochet in the very last stitch, or our chain 2 there at the end. Then you're going to turn your work, and for row 68 you're going to repeat our row 66 pattern. So chain 2, double crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, then continue placing 1 double crochet in each stitch until you have 3 stitches remaining. When you have your last 3 stitches, you're going to work double crochet 2 together in the 2 stitches here, and then double crochet in the very last stitch. So do that, and then I'll meet you in the next row. At the end of row 68, you're going to turn your work, and for row 69 you're going to chain 1, then single crochet in the very first stitch, single crochet in the next 4 stitches. We're not doing any decrease on this row. You're going to start by single crochet in the first 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then bobble in the next. Single crochet in the next 5, bobble in the next. So that's the repeat. Single crochet 5, bobble stitch 5, single crochet 5, bobble stitch in the next, single crochet 5, bobble stitch in the next, until you have only 2 stitches remaining. Once you've done your last bobble stitch, you're going to have 2 stitches. So go ahead and place single crochet in the very last 2 stitches. So this is what I meant. After your last bobble stitch, you're going to have only 2 stitches remaining. So go ahead and place a single crochet in those very last 2 stitches. At the end of row 69, you're going to turn your work, and for row 70, you're going to repeat our row 68. So chain 2, and then work only 1 decrease, double crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, then double crochet in each stitch until you have 3 stitches remaining. Then I'll meet you when you're finishing this row and starting the next row. When you reach the last 3 stitches, you're going to work a double crochet 2 together, and then double crochet in the very last stitch. Chain 1, turn. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and for row 71, we're going to work another decrease. So single crochet in the first stitch, then single crochet 2 together, and single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Then you're going to start our bobble. So work a bobble in that next stitch, and single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So your pattern will be bobble in the next stitch, single crochet in the next 5, bobble in the next stitch, single crochet in the next 5, until you have only 4 stitches remaining at the very end. So I'll meet you when you have your 4 stitches remaining, then finish it and proceed to the next row. I've just made my last bobble, and I have now 4 stitches remaining here at the end. What you'll do, you'll work a single crochet in the next stitch, then decrease in the next 2 stitches. So you'll work a single crochet, 2 together, then single crochet in the very last stitch. Then turn your work, and for row 72, we're going to repeat row 68 or row 70 pattern. Work a chain 2, which will count as the first double crochet, then double crochet 2 together, double crochet in each stitch until you have only 3 stitches remaining, double crochet 2 together in the second last 2 stitches, and double crochet in the very last stitch. Do that, and then I'll meet you in row 73.
At the end of row 72, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and for row 73, we're going to work single crochet in the first 2 stitches, so you're not decreasing also in this row. So single crochet in the first stitch and the second stitch.
Then you want to work a bobble stitch in this next one. Then single crochet in the next 5 stitches. The pattern repeat for this row is after single crochet 5 stitches, you're going to work a bobble in the next stitch, single crochet in the next 5, bobble in the next, single crochet in the next 5, all the way until you finish your row. At the end of row 73, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then this being our last row, you're going to work single crochet in every stitch. So just place your single crochets all the way to the end, and then we'll be through with the sleeve. At the end of your last row, you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn. To assemble our part, you're going to start with the body panels. So bring your front and back panel and then join them at the shoulder. You can use either whip stitch or mattress stitch to join the shoulder seams. So to join using the mattress seam, which I really prefer and I really love, I'm going to pick my yarn and insert it through the very last stitch of the shoulder seams, and then do that again. You want to leave some tail to weave at the very end. Then we're going to go through the first stitch, insert a hook on the first stitch through to the second stitch, and do the same for the other side. Insert the first stitch through to the second. Then do that for some few stitches before pulling it tight. After going through some few stitches, you're going to pull your yarn just to close the seam. So you can go ahead do this. I'm going to do it offline for both shoulders, then I'll meet you when you're joining the sleeve to our armhole. After joining the shoulder seams, you want to lay your work flat on the wrong side, and then take one sleeve, also lay flat on the wrong side. Then you want to pin specific points using your stitch markers for you to be able to sew along the armhole. So you're going to mark our points, and then you want to find the middle stitch on, because we finished with 26 stitches, so you want to mark the 13th stitch on both sides and then mark it on these last stitches here. But if you had a different stitch count, that is what you're going to do. Mark the center stitch and join it to these stitches here, and then just doing it, just lay it and pin it. Make sure you don't stretch on either sleeve or the body panel. Once you're done with one side, you're going to go ahead and do the same on this other side. So once you've pinned your sleeve to the armhole area, you're going to take your yarn and your darning needle and then whip stitch it all the way to the end on the wrong side. If you do not like sewing, you can also join it just using slip stitches all the way, or your favorite method of joining panels together. So I'll do this off camera, do the other sleeve, then I'll show you how to join the sleeve and the body panels now together. I went ahead and finished joining the sleeves to the armhole. And the next step will now to, you can either turn it to the right side or just continue joining the body panels from the bottom ribbing all the way to the underarm, and then from the underarm continue with the sleeve all the way to the cuff, and then do the same for this other side. Just whip stitch it all the way, or you can slip stitch it. Either way, use what you prefer to join the seams together. Once you're done with both sides, we'll turn our work to the right side, then finish off with the cuffs and the neck ribbing. I went ahead and finished seaming all the sides. You can now see the sides are seamed and the sleeves as well. So the next step, you can either leave the sleeve as it is right now or work a cuff ribbing and neck ribbing too. So for this one, we're going to start with the neck ribbing. To add the neck ribbing, you're going to join or attach your yarn in any stitch at the back of your, you can either attach it at the back of the sweater or at the side seams, so the shoulder seams. So I'm just going to pick a random stitch here at the back and attach the yarn. Then I'm going to chain 6. So this will depend with how long you want the neck webbing to be. I want it to be only 6 stitches tall or high. And then notice I'm using a 3mm for the neck webbing, not a 4 as we were using. So after working 6 stitches, you're going to chain 1 just to turn, and then working on the back bumps. So we're going to work not on these stitches, but you're going to turn our work, then work on these back bumps. So skip the very first one, and then on this second one, you're going to insert your hook and work a single crochet, and single crochet in the next 5 stitches, working only in the back bump. When you reach your last chain stitch, you're going to go in the next 2 stitches and slip stitch. So slip stitch in the second stitch, slip stitch in the third stitch, then turn. So this is going to be the pattern repeat. So for row 2, you're going to skip the slip stitches and go in the very last stitch, last single crochet stitch, back loop only if you want to work single crochet in each stitch. When you reach the very last stitch, you can either work through the back loop or through both loops. I prefer going through both loops just to give it stability. And then chain 1 and turn. Row 3, we're going to work only in the back loops of these 6 stitches. So single crochet, back loop only on every stitch. When you're through with those single crochet stitches, you want to go in the next 2 stitches and place a slip stitch. Then turn and repeat row 2 pattern, single crochet, back loop only on those 6 single crochet stitches. You're not limited to only 6 single crochet stitches. You can do 10, you can do 15, you can do 4, depending on how you want your neck ribbing to be. At the end, chain 1, turn and repeat row 3, single crochet, back loop only all the way to the end. Once you're through with the single crochet stitches, you want to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. Then turn, do not chain 1 and repeat row 2. So you're going to repeat row 2 and row 3 pattern all the way until you reach the very end. So when you reach the rows, you're just going to, after working your last stitch here, you're just going to slip stitch in that double crochet row. When you reach the rows, you're going to work 2 slip stitches in every double crochet row and 1 slip stitch in the single crochet row. Just balance your slip stitches, and then once you're done with the neck ribbing, I'll meet you when you're finishing it off and doing the cuff ribbings. After working the neck ribbing all the way around, you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn, leaving about 6 inches, and then use the tail to join the 2 ends together. And weave in the end inside your sweater, and that will be done. So this is how the neck ribbing will be, and we'll now head over to the cuff of our sleeve. Now after you through with all the seams, you're going to come here and work on the cuff ribbing. I already did the other side. Let me just show you how it looks like. So this is how the other side looks like. So this is what you're going to do. You can either opt out of this one and leave just your sleeve as this wide open, or you do the ribbing here at the cuff. So to do that, you're going to pick your yarn, and then you want to join it in any stitch around the sleeve, but I prefer to join it at the sleeve right under the seam. I'm sorry. So pick that stitch, go in that stitch, and then attach your yarn with a chain stitch, and then you want to work single crochet 2 together. So you're going to go in the very same stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then go in the next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, then you want to yarn over, pull through all those 3 loops. So that's our first single crochet 2 together. You're going to do that again in the next 2 stitches. So insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, go in the next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through all the 3 loops. Now you're going to repeat this all the way to the end. Once you reach the very end of your row and you have your 34 stitches, you're going to go change your hook to a 3mm and then join it with a slip stitch to the very first stitch. And then from here you want to work now the ribbing, join as you go. So chain 7. So this 7 will be 6 stitches and 1 turning chain. Then skip the very first chain, and on this second chain you want to work a single crochet. Then single crochet in each chain all the way to the end of these chain stitches. At this point you should have 6 single crochet stitches, and then you're going to slip stitch in the very same stitch down here, and then slip stitch in the next stitch. Then turn your work, and for row 2 you're going to skip the slip stitches, then go right to the very first single crochet back stitch here, and then working in the back loop only, you want to work single crochet in each of those 6 stitches. So work only in the back loops. When you reach the very last stitch here, you can either go through both 2 loops or the back loop. I prefer to go through both the 2 loops just to give it some steadiness or keep it steady. Then once you've done that, you're going to chain 1, turn, and for the next row, row 3, you're going to work single crochet back loop only in each of those 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once you've done the single crochet back loops only, you're going to, now you're not going to go in the stitch that we started with here, you're going to go in the next stitch. So go in the next stitch, slip stitch, jump to the next stitch, do a slip stitch, and then turn and repeat row 2 pattern. So remember, row 2 we skipped the slip stitches and started working on the very first single crochet back loop only here. And then working on the back loop only, you want to work single crochet back loop only on every stitch. So basically we're just doing what we did while joining the neck ribbing. So turn your work and repeat row 3 by working single crochet back loop only on every stitch. Once you reach the very last stitch, you're going to go in this foundation or the base stitches and work slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. So repeat this all the way around your cuff and then I'll meet you when you're joining the last bit of it. So once you reach the end of your rows, you should have the total number of rows should be the same as the total number of stitches you had at the single crocheted together row. So we had 34 and now we have 34 rows of the single crochet back loop only rows. So at this very end, your work should end here at the very edge of your rows, and then cut your yarn, and using your darning needle you want to weave in that tail. Just chain one at the very end and then weave in. So I'm using my darning needle, and then I'm just going to use whip stitch all the way to the, so I'll work on the inside of my work and going through these loops at the edges, I'll just whip stitch it. So you can use any joining method that you prefer, but for these short seams I just prefer doing the whip stitch or the sewing method. Yep. I'll do the rest cleaning up later. So that is the end of this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you in a way. And if you did, if it helped you and if you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Please like this video and share it with your friends. Give me some comments down below and let me know what you think about it and what you'd like me to make next. So that is all. Thank you so much, and until next time, please stay safe. God bless you, and bye.